Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wind Band and Beyond podcast. Our show today, Teaching Brass Instruments, features special guest Dr. Aaron Witek. Dr. Witek joined the faculty of Ithaca College School of Music in 2018 as an assistant professor of trumpet. Dr. Witek is a Yamaha artist and has performed and given masterclasses throughout the United States, China, Australia, and Bangladesh. Witek is sought out as an adjudicator and has judged at the International Trumpet Guild Conference and National Trumpet Competition. Dr. Witek joins us today to give advice for teaching young brass students. Hello, Dr. Witek. How are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
I don't know if you're keeping track, but this is our third Zoom meeting of the day, you and I.
Yes, I feel very fortunate to have this much time with you.
Likewise. So this is a podcast for our Ithaca College junior wind music education students, and I've had a few guests on just to talk about some ideas, some advice they have for them. Our topic du jour of this week is brass principles and pedagogy. So instead of having myself, a lowly saxophone player, tell my students about brass principles and pedagogy, I thought I would ask the brass expert himself. So what advice do you have for our juniors as they're about to start student teaching, and some of those lessons will be brass, some will be woodwinds, but regardless, many of our students will go on to be teaching band lessons and brass students in the future. So what is your best advice for our juniors?
Great. Well, I think a lot that I'm going to have to say here today really pertains to teaching any wind instrument. So you can kind of think about this for woodwinds as well, but I'm going to try to keep it brass specific. And I would say the first and most important thing there's three things. There's three important guidelines, I always say. The importance of fundamentals, demonstration, and making it fun for your students. So you're going to be working with a lot of young students, and we need to develop not just their fundamentals, which I said was number one, to demonstrate so they know what they're going for, but three, they have to have fun, and there has to be some kind of reward in the process. And since learning a musical instrument is kind of a delayed gratification thing, we have to find ways to develop habits early on that are rewarding for them. So if that's a gold star in their book, or that they keep a habit sheet, and it's like, yeah, I did it today. And as soon as you start to make a streak of habits, that it becomes fun, there's some kind of reward. So those are the three most important guidelines that I would follow as a teacher right now. My students at IC know me as a fundamental guru, and it's kind of fun. Fundamentals, fun time. Yeah. So, really in brass playing, we have 6 or 7 fundamentals we can think about. We can break this down to. We have breathing / air support, right? Which we'll talk a little bit more about. We have tone. We have articulation, flexibility, finger or slide dexterity. And then the 6th one, I guess, would be transposition for those instruments that need to transpose. And now, granted, we're not with our young students working on transposition. Maybe you're touching a little bit in high school. It's really more of a college thing. So that's why I say, I guess there's 6. So yeah. Breathing, obviously, for a wind instrument is the most important. And it's really interesting. Even in my professional life, for a long time, I was like, yeah, breathing. And as I've gotten older and I've taught college for 15 years, I've realized how much time I have to spend working on breathing with my students. And it's not just the inhalation, but it's the exhalation. So think about this, tell your young students that we must breathe differently than we do in everyday life to play an instrument, right? I mean, think you have a 4th grader, right, who's standing like, I don't know how tall a 4th grader is, but they're like this tall, and you put a trombone next to them. And if you were to extend that trombone, it's longer than them big time, right? That thing needs to be, those sound waves or the waves inside that instrument need to be activated, and they need to get excited. How do we do that? We do that with air and vibration of our lips, right? Our lips are the reed of the instrument. So the student needs to know that we breathe differently, and we need to work on that every rehearsal. The nice thing is you can do breathing with all your winds, and your percussionists, they can participate as well because they need to learn how to enter with breathing with the band, right? So Matt, go ahead and stop me if you don't want me to keep going with this, or we have a fair amount I can talk about with breathing. Um, are we good to keep going with it for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, okay.
I can always cut it down if we need to.
Okay, cool. So with breathing, deep and relaxed. Well, what does that mean? Uh, Posture. We have to have good posture, right? We always teach about posture. Everyone knows this, but how do we teach a deep breath to a student, specifically a young student, right? They think deep breath, and the first thing, a lot of times they'll do this and pay attention. They'll go, and what did they do? They took a breath through their nose, right? Perfect time to tell them we don't breathe through our nose. Why? Well, just think about when you have a cold. How are you going to breathe and play your instrument if you have a cold and it's all stuffy? But the real reason is because we can't get the air in fast enough, and we can't take as deep of a breath in the amount of time as we can when we go through the mouth. So one of the things I simply do, and this is straight from the breathing gym, except for with my little spin. If you don't know what the breathing gym is, it's a great both book, and I think they still sell it on DVD, but maybe they have it downloadable now, just these breathing exercises. And what I tell my students is wave like a princess, and they all laugh and they wave, right? And it doesn't matter if they're a college student all the way down to beginners. I do this. Wave like a princess, great. We're going to take our hand, we're going to put it up to our mouth. Now I want you to open your mouth really wide and drop your tongue low. We're going to take a breath in. It's going to sound like this. Oh, yeah, we sound like Darth Vader, right? And the nice thing is that they can sound like Darth Vader, and they know who Darth Vader is now because Disney has made a bunch of movies on it. So we do the wave like a princess and we breathe. If we hear this sound, their tongue's too high in their mouth. So we need to lower the tongue. Lower your tongue, Pretend you put something really hot in your mouth. Ho, ho, ho. Make it fun. Give them analogies and examples so they can relate to it. And then the next thing is how do we release that air? Well, I like to think about easy air in, easy air out. And so many students learn breathing. They think deep air in and then let it go. And specifically my high brass friends, they do this. They'll go, and I call that sneezing air, which is not how we should play our instrument. They're sneezing into the instrument. And it sounds like, right? And it doesn't sound good. And there's so much tension in the throat. So we have to teach them how to breathe in a way that's relaxed, but yet removing fast air. And I think people shy away from the word fast because they automatically think push, which is a word that we don't use as well. But energized air maybe is what we need. We have to energize those sound waves inside that instrument to create the sound. So what I'll do is I have a couple different methods that I do, but I'll share two. One is blowing out candles or / cooling a big bowl of soup. So everyone first pretend that you are sneezing air out. That's not what we want. We want, there's still energy in that sound, but I'm cooling that big bowl of soup. I don't want it to splash all over the place, or blowing out a candle without spitting on the cake. So that's the kind of air we're going for in the instrument. So if we have a relaxed breath in, then we'll have a relaxed breath out. If we have a tense breath in, we're going to have the quality of air in equals quality of sound out, okay? So this is a big thing that I'm always teaching, keeping the shoulders down. You'll see little kids all do this. They'll go, right? They're like over-exaggerating because this is what they see in the cartoons. It's not what we need here. So you're going to demonstrate. You're going to go back and forth. Look at yourself in a mirror. Show them a video of themselves. Let them see so they can learn how to evaluate their own performance and how they do something. And then just from there, to finish up with breathing, we'll do it like, so if you're already playing the instruments and all, we'll go from without the instrument, without the mouthpiece, just just nice and calm. And we might do it metered. We might not do it metered. It depends up to you how you want to do that. But then from there, we'll go to the mouthpiece and just simply hold the mouthpiece in front of your face and see if they can keep the shoulders down and all. Then apply it to blowing through the mouthpiece. Then finally apply it to buzzing on the mouthpiece. So breaking it down that much. I know it sounds like a lot of steps, but if you aren't explaining it and you're demonstrating, you're going back and forth, they'll get it. Watch out for breathing through the mouthpiece. Watch out for sniff breaths. So where they go, where they breathe through the nose first, then the mouth. Okay, because that creates tension. And then watch for shallow breaths. So we still want this Darth Vader. So that's breathing. A lot of stuff there.
Yeah, no, and what I love about what you just shared there is you weren't explaining the mechanics or the anatomy of the breathing. You were modeling, you were demonstrating, you were doing active things that they could see, observe, and try out and imitate. That seems to be related to one of your other principles, right? Where you show and you model. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Demonstrate was one of my guidelines, right? So, if you've never seen what a rainbow is, I tell you to draw a rainbow, you're not going to know how to draw a rainbow. You don't know what it looks like, right? Well, think about it this way. With our musicians, they have to hear the sound in their head. They have to hear the pitch. They have to hear the rhythm, the crescendo, whatever, and then they have to produce it. If you don't know what you're trying to go for, you're not going to be able to produce it. It's the same thing with if they don't know what a breath looks like, what a breath sounds like, what it feels like, right? Do you feel that cold spot in the back of your throat when you breathe? That's good. Yeah, we're going for that. You have to relate it to things. And then it's not just one time, though. You don't just say it once. You say it again, and you remind them throughout the lesson. Remember that breath we did? And we keep coming back to it. And we keep coming back to it. And then the next lesson, we do it again. And eventually it just becomes second nature to them, but also it's ingrained in their head. And they're going to know your sayings, and they'll fill them in. And it becomes a lot of fun for the student as well.
Nice. Oh, thank you so much. You've given us a lot to think about, not just for teaching brass lessons, but all beginning band instruments. So I really am grateful for that. Is there anything that we missed? Is there anything that you want our junior music education students to know before we leave today? Sure.
Yeah, there's a couple little things. The importance of mouthpiece buzzing, and some people are against mouthpiece buzzing. And if you're teaching other instruments, you might do some things on just the head of the flute or something. But mouthpiece buzzing is pretty beneficial, especially with a young brass player. So this is a perfect time to work on ear training. I mean, I know some brass teachers who don't even give the students their instrument at first, and all they do is mouthpiece buzzing for like a week or two or a month or whatever. So when they're doing the mouthpiece buzzing, I like to have them hold it with their non-dominant hand if possible, so they're not pushing the mouthpiece into their face. Remember, this is your reed, right? If you push pressure into your reed, it stops buzzing. Okay, so we need to keep this pliable. And they're learning with mouthpiece buzzing, they're going to be using more air. Demonstrate what a good buzz sounds like. It's really full and buzzy. On a horn mouthpiece, so a deep V mouthpiece, it'll sound a little bit more airy, but it shouldn't sound to a point where they can't create a constant buzz. So we're working on just first a constant buzz and then sirens. Sirens. Bah. And doing that with a glissando. Why? Well, it's teaching them tongue angle. And the tongue in our mouth does a lot of stuff. Okay, it helps increase the airspeed and all. We don't need to get into all that. It's naturally going to happen. Pardon me. So with the glissando, it keeps the air moving as well while they switch notes. Now, you want to really pay attention that you don't sacrifice the embouchure. If that's happening, they're going too high for them. So a beginner, they're going to gliss like in that range. And then it's going to get bigger and bigger over time. It also is going to develop strength in the embouchure on these outside muscles. It's getting the air to do the work, but it's also teaching them how to audiate the sound in their head and then produce it. So just go around the room, play. If you're doing group lessons, play around the world. Okay, you play a pitch. Okay, now we match it. And then do it with you, and then do it at the piano, right? We're doing some ear training because they have to, I call it calibration. Calibrating what they hear to inside their head to buzzing it. Because whatever we buzz and we put into that instrument is what's going to come out of it. Now, the instrument is a little more forgiving. You're either going to crack or it's going to bump you into place. I consider it like bumper bowling. When it hits this bumper and hits this bumper, it doesn't let it go into the gutter, the ball. So you'll still hit some pins down. That's kind of what the instrument's doing. But the more we can get in the center of it, it's going to be great. I guess there's two more things I'll go over real quick, which is tone development. And it starts with the air. And then the buzz, okay? So there's, again, concept, demonstrating, putting recordings on. Hey, go check out this recordings. Send them recordings. I want you, or let's listen to this recording. What do you hear? Okay. Place, I cannot explain this enough. I taught with Richard Saucedo, who taught at up Carmel High School up in Indiana. And if you know Carmel, BOA champions, unbelievable band program, jazz band program, everything. And that man would spend 45 minutes on a concert F. And it was amazing. But he showed the importance so much of what it was to play with a good sound and to use your ears. If you show what's important to you and you don't back off on it, it becomes important to them. They're going to take on the characteristics of you. So if you're fun, they're going to be fun. If you find that tone development is important, they're going to find it. So you have to find a fun way, of course, to do it with them, but these things hold true. So I like to do air patterns, whatever it might be, buzz it or sing it, buzz it, play it. It used to be just sing, buzz, play. Now I added air to that before because it all starts with the air. Long tones are good, but long tones are only good if you support it. What is supporting? Maintaining airflow. Supporting isn't holding something. Supporting is keeping, like if you have a balloon here, if I drop my hand, the balloon would just, whoosh, I need to support it up. Okay, so I'm keeping it moving forward. Then go into slurred scales might help, flow studies as they get better, pitch bends, and just make them listen. The last thing that I want to mention is articulation. The air is always moving. The tongue needs to be light. It shouldn't be pounding. So many students learn to start their sound with tongue, then air. It's air and tongue together. So the more you can do something where it's just, now we're going to divide it into 4, but really light, almost like saying la, and then firm up the tongue a little bit. That's really important that they aren't relying on the tongue to create it. It's a lot of stuff I just went over.
It's so valuable, though, and the beauty of these recordings is we can rewind, listen again, in case we missed it the first time.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through a lot with you here.
Oh, no, it's fantastic. And I just really appreciate your enthusiasm and your energy. It's clear you're passionate about education, and that's something I've always really respected about you is that you can walk the walk, but you also know how to teach others to do so also. So
same to you. I mean, that's why I love working with you and our conversations we have. I love talking about teaching. It's a great gift that we get to share with people, and it really, I mean, it's the best part of my day. I can tell you that. So
amazing. Well, yeah. We can't possibly top that. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Witek. And yeah, well, take it easy. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on Zoom, I'm sure, soon enough.
I can't wait. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.